Hey everybody, I'm in the Gaskins Cemetery in Russell County, Kentucky, and it's right across from a park. And Highway 80 is it's within earshot, but it's not very far past these trees really, going towards Columbia that way and whatever behind us, Somerset and stuff. This is, again, the Gaskins Family Cemetery. This is my great-grandfather, Alfred Thomas Gaskins. He went in World War I, went to basic training for World War I, went through these mustard gas at the time, and the drill instructor said he wasn't doing it right. He had to go back through again. Everybody said no, and when he did, it damaged his lungs, and he came home, and he died of TB later on. He spent his years trying to catch his breath. He had to sleep out on the porch a whole lot. Apparently a very godly man. When he died, he had 3 children, Mac, Morris, and Mac, Morris, and Dorothy, and was pregnant with Ama. So she was widowed. This is my great-grandmother, Grandma Gaskins, Flora Jane Gaskins. She was in Ashbrook. So she was widowed, 3 kids during the Depression, and pregnant. And quite a mess, quite a struggle to make things happen. She did not remarry. I believe she was 31 when he died. I don't know if my math is right or not. I can't do my math and talk at the same time. For some reason I'm thinking she's 31. I guess she was, quick math here, she was probably 29 when he died. She could have easily remarried, but she never wanted to remarry because she didn't know what the next husband would be like, and she wanted to protect her children. That's not a bra-burning type of women's liberty statement. That's a motherly protective of her kids. And she lived there, and her grandfather, another Gaskins guy, was, Milton Gaskins. He was the grandfather. So he took care of the kids. He was kind of the man of the house. He came over because they had adjacent farms across from 80. He'd walk over and take care of some of the more manly chores and try to help things. So here she is raising 3 kids, and then 4, after the death of her husband, taking care of things. And my grandmother told me a story. My grandmother Dorothy is buried down at Bethel, about 5 miles from here. Said this a storm was coming, and they knew it was real bad because they could hear people screaming. And he came over and grabbed a lantern and scooped up a bunch of kids under each arm and went down to the cellar. A good deal. More family. Mother Martha Gaskins. This is Thomas, my great-grandfather's brother, Sam Gaskins. And apparently he was a friend of man. That's what it says anyway, right? Ama was my great aunt. And this is her, and she was the person, if she was dying of thirst and she had a cup of water before her, she'd give it to somebody else. She always thought of the other people to the detriment of herself. It's a tremendous, tremendous quality. She was married to a guy in World War II, and his name was Philip, and he got killed in action. So let's go back here just a touch, right? He goes to World War I in training, can't go, damages his lungs, dies. She's widowed, 3 kids and a baby. Later on, she's having, when the World War II breaks out, she's got a son, Morris, who's in World War II fighting the Germans. He was in the Battle of the Bulge and such. Another son, Mac, who was in the Army Air Corps wiring up planes, RAF planes and Army Air Force planes. Had a son-in-law, Charles, my grandfather, who was in North Africa, Operation Torch, went to Anzio, up through Italy and all this fun stuff as a combat engineer. And then had Ama's husband at the time, Philip. He died in action. I mean, what a tough story. People now think they're tough because they can, I don't know, they got a nice phone, or tough because they're social justice warriors. Lived during the Depression, widowed, son-in-law killed in action, 2 sons in the war, son-in-law in the war also, and all this stuff. Ama's husband, Philip, dies in the war, and he dies. He's buried at the Nancy National Cemetery. Later, she marries Arvis Holt. Arvis spent 27 months in a POW camp, and I just learned this about a half hour ago from my cousin, that because he was a sergeant, he was in charge of the base as far as, because they had officer POW camps and enlisted men POW camps, and he was in charge, and he had a guy from Burkesville, and they knew each other and kept track and stuff. But he spent 27 months in a POW camp, and PTSD to death, and comes back and makes things happen, and they've got a place, and things are nice, and whatever. Here's a bunch of veterans, a bunch of people. And I guarantee Uncle Arvis wouldn't have put up with any crap about executive orders on masks. Just saying. Guys, there's a lot of people here, a lot of tragedies here. a lot of tragedies for our country involving wars and stuff like this. But I come from good stock, and that's not a bragging thing, but you got to know where you come from. If you don't come from good stock, then just trust in Jesus, he'll take care of the rest. I trust in Jesus, and I come from good stock, so it's kind of a good deal. But I just want to tell you that bit of history. Don't give up your freedoms, guys. These people had it tough. You think you got it tough because you can't get Wi-Fi? Well, boo-hoo. You think you got it tough because you have to drive a car that's 10 years old? Well, again, I say to you, verily, verily, I say unto you, boo-hoo. Suck it up and make things happen. These guys did it. Some Russell County, Kentucky people here, and some good people. Grandma Gaskins, knew her well, never met him. Ama, top 5 most respected people in my life. Good woman.